Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Calhoun's. The Vols are at home next Saturday, and if you're not eating at Calhoun's before or after the game, you can eat at Calhoun's during the game by going to any of their 4 locations inside Neyland Stadium. The taste of Tennessee, literally, while you're at Tennessee football games, 4 locations for Calhoun's inside Neyland Stadium. I want to welcome in the next two panelists of our program here. We have Bob Hodge. Of course, everyone remembers Bob. He's been with us since the beginning, as has down there Chuck Cavaleras. Chuck, thanks for being here. Bob, thanks for being here. This is our Hot Read segment, so I pair these guys off. You each get a question for a couple of minutes here. These are kind of similar questions, okay? Somebody's getting offense, somebody's getting defense. We will start with Bob and Will. Should the defense be graded on a curve? Because they went young, it's game one in a new system, faced a top-flight offense? Or do you factor in the fact that Greer overthrew 2 guys that would have been touchdowns in the first half and they had 2 touchdowns dropped, or this thing could have been worse, much worse? You grade on the curve or no?
I'll go ahead. I want to grade them on the curve a little bit. I think the young guys makes a difference. I think the fact that Will Greer, there's a couple of times I thought Tennessee's coverage was okay, but it was just a perfect pass and good catches, and there's not a whole lot you can do about that kind of thing. Where you come back from the curve against anybody, you would have liked to have seen somebody made some plays. And I just thought Tennessee's defensive line got a pretty decent push at times against Greer, but they weren't able to do anything with it once they got there. I thought your linebackers were basically non-existent, and you already talked about the defensive back. So I'm going to grade them on the curve a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I don't give them that. I don't go with the curve in this case because you were only young at the secondary. But you did not. Your reason your secondary had so much trouble during the game was you got pushed a few times from the 2 middlemen up the middle. You got no pressure from the outside without blitzing. Those guys were stuck on blocks on the offensive tackles the entire game, and that presented a problem. The only reason they got pressure is when the guys got flushed out. So I thought for this team having a young secondary, you didn't get a lot of help from your guys that are supposed to be coming on as pass rushers to help out this team.
Which we asked about going into this. We talked about it all off season. Your secondary is supposed to be better, but they've got to be helped by a pass rush, which you also didn't have last year, and you couldn't muster it yesterday. I thought one thing that was disappointing about the defense, I didn't think the tackling was great. Maybe that was week one, but I didn't think the tackling was very good either. Jimmy and Chuck, we'll flip it and talk offense with you guys. Do you grade on the curve because this team took on a ranked team in game one? Tennessee had a new system out there in offense? Or do you look at it and say they still just scored 14 points against what was not a good defense last year?
I don't grade on the curve because when you talk about ranked teams, where was West Virginia's defense ranked last year? It wasn't very good. They gave up about 450 yards a game. Tennessee gained, what, 301? So I wouldn't grade on the curve with the offense. And the best I could do for the offense as far as a grade would be a C or a C minus. When you only got 14 points and you didn't run the ball any more effectively than you did against West Virginia, I thought it was average at best.
Yeah, and then plus that terrible start. What, your first 13 plays, 6 of them are minus yardage. No, I don't grade on a curve, but you do take some positives out of this. Your offense did not have a turnover. Garantano was putting the ball on the money. It would have been easy for him to really be too amped up and not be as accurate as it was. Look at Tim Jordan coming in, rushing for over 100 yards. If it was that one of those last drives when you get it down there and you don't score and it's kind of a throwaway, you don't complete it, this game could have been 33-21. And then at the end it flipped to where it was 40-14, and it really looks bad at that point.
Yeah, but again, I'll go back. They left a lot of points on the board too.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those things, you could play the ifs and buts both ways. The reality is 40-14, which you and I were talking.
That makes me the most positive person
Yes,
here,
it does. Yes, it does. We were talking yesterday about, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought, which tells you something about Tennessee in recent years. There was a time, a 40-14 loss for Tennessee, you'd be going, oh my God, that's unbelievable. Now you're going, not as bad as I've seen.
Against good teams recently, it's almost been, thank you, sir, may I have another?
Yeah.
And you did. Yeah, the fact that you were still here in the third quarter, I think, is a different than you've seen against some of the recent.
One thing I thought was disappointing in terms of the offense. We had in the fall camp, the discussion was, we heard from the coaches saying that the offensive line has been dominant. And we asked on this show, does that mean your offensive line's improved? Or does that mean your defensive line still sucks? I think I'm going with still sucks after watching that yesterday. Now, the offensive line, you could argue maybe that got better as the game went on, but I thought a lot of that was Jordan hitting the hole. They were still getting penetration up the middle on Tennessee until Tennessee finally bounced outside. Here's the stat, though. If you thought Tennessee's rushing game got better, they averaged 3.4 yards a carry. Last year, they averaged 3.4 yards a carry for the year. So you were at exactly the same yards per carry average as last year, which was terrible.
I thought the offensive line did get a little better as the game went on, but I also thought that might have been the most disappointing part of the game for me. Was I thought that you would see improvement.
But see, we've been fooled by that every single year. Somebody has said the offensive line is going to get better, and I keep saying, no, it doesn't get better until they actually get better players.
I keep calling the Nigerian prince back, too, and I ain't got my money yet, so
right.
Maybe it's just me.
Very good. All right, when we come back, all of our VFLs join us. So we're going to bring out Daniel Hood, Sterling Hinton, Brian Randolph, Will Overstreet, and we're going to talk about all the remaining position groups that we haven't covered yet. Usually we'll be doing a 3 up, 3 down segment where we're talking about individual players. I'm going to be nice today. We're just going to be grading individual position groups. Come see how Sterling spins this and see how the rest of us jump back at him. Come on back on the Sports Source.